Hello everyone, welcome to our video lesson for the 4th grade of high school. Our topic today is Australia and my name is Ivana. I will be your teacher today. Today we will listen to a native speaker talking about Australia, and we will do some interesting tasks connected to that text. For this lesson, you will need your notebook, something to write with, and make sure to have internet access all the time. You can pause the video at any time. So let's start. My first question for you is the following. What are the first things that come to mind when you hear the word Australia? So, what words do you associate with this country? Pause the video and think about it and jot down your ideas. I'm sure that you have some of the following associations with Australia. For example, pristine, beautiful beaches, marsupials such as kangaroos, Sydney Opera House, one of the iconic landmarks of Australia, Aborigines, who are indigenous people in Australia. And I'm sure you have many more associations. Our next activity is a short quiz. I would like to check how much you know about Australia. I'm sure that you know a lot. So stop the video and copy this link into your browser and try to pass the quiz. Okay, we can go on. I'm sure you had no problems with the quiz, so let's move on. In our next activity, we will listen to Natalie from Sydney. She will tell us a lot of interesting things about Australia. While listening, I would like you to answer the question that you can see on this slide. Which topics does Natalie talk about? Is it food, inhabitants, biodiversity, landscapes, national holidays, landmarks, or Australian English? Write them down in your notebook. So let's listen.
Australia is a country of striking landscapes, a rich culture, and one of the world's strongest economies. It is the 6th largest country in land area and is the only nation to govern an entire continent. With a spectacular natural environment, high quality of life, and great diversity, Australia is a sought-after destination for international tourists. It has 10% of the world's biodiversity, and a great number of its native plants and animals exist nowhere else on Earth. From tropical rainforests in the north to the red deserts of the centre, from the snowfields of the southeast to the Australian Antarctic Territory, it is a vast and varied land. It is split up into 6 states and 2 territories. The states include Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia. The territories include the Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory. Australia has many World Heritage Sites, including the Great Barrier Reef, Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park and the Sydney Opera House. Australians come from a rich variety of cultural, ethnic, linguistic and religious backgrounds. While Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are the original inhabitants of the land, immigrants from about 200 countries also call Australia home. Until the 1970s, the majority of immigrants to Australia came from Europe. These days, Australia receives many more immigrants from Asia, and since 1996, the number of immigrants from Africa and the Middle East has almost doubled. Aboriginal people in Australia are the custodians of one of the oldest continuous living cultures in the world. Archaeological evidence suggests that Australia has been continuously inhabited for more than 60,000 years. Indigenous culture is diverse and strong and makes a vital contribution to Australia's national identity. Australia has around 10% of the world's biodiversity and is one of the 17 megadiverse countries that together account for almost 70% of the world's species. It is a land like no other. More than 80% of Australia's mammals, reptiles, frogs and flowering plants are unique to Australia, along with many of its freshwater fish and almost half its birds. There are more than 140 species of marsupials, animals that carry their young in a pouch, such as kangaroos. Other best-known animals are the koala, echidna, dingo, platypus, wallaby and wombat. The beauty of Australia's natural landscapes, from pristine coastal areas to lush rainforests and red deserts, makes Australia one of the most desirable travel destinations in the world. More than 7 million visitors came to Australia last year, attracted by world-class food and wine, beautiful beaches, unique flora and fauna, friendly people and a relaxed atmosphere. Australia's 2,300 kilometre Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest and longest coral reef system, which is home to around 600 types of hard and soft corals. You can even see it from outer space. The world's largest monolith is also one of Australia's landmarks, located in the heart of the Northern Territory. One of the top landmarks in Australia, set at the heart of the Sydney Harbour, is the Sydney Opera House, which was designed by Danish architect John Utzon and opened by Queen Elizabeth in 1973. In 2007, it was included on the UNESCO World Heritage List and is the youngest cultural site to ever be included on this list. This iconic building resembles shells that you might find on the beach. These concrete shells are supported by 588 pillars sunk below the water. All these unique things you have heard about make Australia one of the most desirable travel destinations in the world, and Australia welcomes millions of visitors every year. We hope that one day you will be one of them too.
Okay, let's check what you have done. Which topics did she talk about? Inhabitants, biodiversity, landscapes, and landmarks. Well done. The text is pretty long, so I would like you to listen once again. Try to take notes while listening for the second time, because you will need those notes for some tasks that follow. Okay, to check whether you have listened carefully for the second time, I have prepared an escape room for you. I hope you have done something like this before, but even if you haven't, you won't have any problems doing it. I would like you to copy this link into your browser, bit.ly escape room, and something like this should open. I will explain how you will do this escape room. So this is how Australia escape room looks like when you open it. There is a short introduction at the beginning where you can read the instructions for the escape room, and then there are 4 missions: quiz, find, correct image, and true or false. After each of these missions, you will get 1 number if you have done all the tasks correctly. And after the last mission, true or false, you will have a 4-digit code that you have to type in this reward part. So, and if the code is correct, you have come to the end of the escape room. You have finished it. So pause the video and have fun. Our next task is creating a mind map. So to sum up everything that you have learned today, I would like you to create a mind map in your notebooks. So pause the video and jot down all the ideas, all the new things that you have learned about Australia's inhabitants, Australia's landmarks, and some other things. Your mind map could look like this, of course. Yours will be different, but the most important thing is to sum up everything that you have learned today. And our last task is a research task. You will explore some topics connected to Australia. For example, Australia Day. You will do research on this holiday, this controversial holiday, to see why it is controversial. Or, for example, Christmas in Australia, Aussie English, historical timeline, cool facts, or Aboriginal legends. So it depends what you like. Choose one of these topics. When you type this link into your browser, bit.ly aus choice, and when you open this choice board, by clicking on each of these numbers, a task opens. So for example, if you click on number 4, your task will be to create a digital timeline about the history of Australia from the arrival of European explorers. Or if you click on 5, you will have to make a classroom poster about cool facts about Australia. So have fun doing research. And to wrap up, I would like you to reflect on today's lesson. The first task is to reflect on your performance today. The question is, did you give it 100%? Why? Why not? The second one, what was the most challenging part of today's lesson? And the last one, the best part of today's lesson was because. So this is the end of our today's video lesson. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had a lot of fun, and I hope that you learned something new. So goodbye and enjoy the rest of the day.